What's going on? This is Jay Shaw from the Behind the Bench Sports Network. Shout out to the bench crew. Let's get straight to it. I'm a Raider fan, as you can see. And with that said, I'm an NFL fan. Now, Saquon Barkley, we're being told that he's going to rest the last game of the season. And a lot of people will say he's doing the right thing. You want to have him fresh for the Super Bowl. And I get that. Or the playoff run, let me say that. I get that. But he's coming up. He's 100 yards short from a record that hasn't been broken since the 80s. And that's an easy 100 for him to get. Now, would he be selfish if he went for this record? No. Because it's not like he's saying he's trying to break the single game record, of rushing yards or rushing attempts. He's going after a season record that 9 other players done broke over, including himself, 2,000 yards, but has nobody came close to breaking that record. What are we doing? Because at the end of the day, we're still fans. I want to see, the thing about sports, the reason why we watch sports is to watch something that we ain't never seen happen before. You don't know what's going to happen in every game. You don't know what's going to happen with the outcomes of games. You don't know if you're going to witness a upset, if you're going to see a player break a record. That's why we watch sports. We don't watch sports because, we're checking on our fantasy sports team or we're betting games or anything. We watch it because it's enjoyment, right? And this is how I look at it, because the history would tell you what's more likely to happen. Let's say we ain't never seen a player go for a record that's been standing for many years, many decades. And in his attempt to get it, he injured himself. Going in, and I'm talking about the last game of the season. I don't care if it's baseball, football, basketball. In the last game of the season, when he could have rested, we never seen a player attempt to get a record and that player got injured. Never. I can't recall it. But we also ain't never seen a player who sat and did not go for the record and then play in the next game and get injured. The history hasn't shown us. So the likeliness of him injuring himself in the last game or injuring himself in the next game, we don't have a history of it. Now, my question is, did he run to get 2,000 yards to get an extra payday? Right? Because what are we doing? Was his incentives was if he rushed over 1,500 yards, he'll get paid. But if you could go over 2,000 yards, you'll also get paid. So was he running to get the 2,000 yards to get paid? Because joining history with 9 other people, but not breaking a record, That's kind of like when somebody went over 20,000 points in the NBA for their career. Does it really mean anything? Because now the new standard is going over 30,000 points. Would there ever be a player? LeBron went over 40,000 points, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But I'm just trying to figure out, as a fan, I feel like you're cheating us fans. Because I'm not a Philadelphia fan. I don't really care, but I feel like you're cheating the game when you don't go for these records. When the team don't want you to go for these records. Because I know his teammates ain't saying, you know what, dog, we need you to sit. We need you to sit, because we need you healthy going into the playoffs. Like, if you're going to get injured, you're going to get injured. It's sports. He could get injured getting out the shower tomorrow. You see what I'm saying? He could get injured after the game. But now he didn't get the record, and he's not playing for his team. So it's kind of like Philadelphia better win a Super Bowl. Because what are we doing? That's like Steph Curry about to break the 100-point mark in a game. He's 6 points away with a minute to play. But the coach sits him out for the last minute. As a fan, you're going to feel cheated. As a fan, you're going to feel cheated. And as a fan, I feel like we're being cheated. Now, if it's history of people going for records and they got injured, then I'll be like, okay, the possibility of him getting injured is very high. We done seen this before when this player was trying to get this, the all-time touchdown mark, and it cost his team going into the playoffs. Or, this player could have had past 81 points in basketball, and, he sat himself the fourth quarter when he only needed 10 more points. And now, but the next game he hurt himself. Like, we got to stop this, man. The history will always show you what's likely to happen. And there's no history of a player ever sitting when they had a chance to go get the record and getting injured in the first game in the playoffs. We never seen a player try to get a record and get injured trying to get that record. I don't care what sport it is, football, basketball, baseball, hockey, we never seen it. So for us to not see the all-time single season rushing record not to get broke when he only needed 100, it ain't like, he needed to get 270 yards or 250. He just needed to get 100. Saquon going to give you at least 2 runs past 10 yards. He's going to give you another 3 runs past 6 yards. And he's going to probably give you about 4 or 5, 6 other runs of 4 yards. Like, you're already at 100. And he might give you a run where he gets about 20 yards. Like, this is what he does. It's just disappointing to me as a fan. As a fan that enjoys the game. That looks for big moments in games. I'm not going to keep this video too long, but I wanted to give you my thoughts, my rants on Saquon. Like, what are we really doing as fans? Like I get it. I don't think Saquon, I think he wants to play. I think his family wants him to play. I think his teammates want him to play. I think it's management that don't want him to play. And you play for the fans. Like, if he breaks that record, he wins the MVP. I don't know when's the last time a running back won the MVP. I don't know if it was early 2000s or maybe in the 90s. And, I could be totally wrong. I don't know if it was LaDainian Tomlinson or Adrian Peterson that might have won league MVP. I don't know, if it was Emmitt Smith or Barry Sanders or maybe one of those other running backs that broke over 2,000 yards rushing. I don't know who's the last running back to win league MVP, but I'm pretty sure if you break this record that's been standing since the 80s, they got to give it to you. Same way the NBA had to give Russell Westbrook the MVP when he averaged a triple-double. You know what I'm saying? For a season, they had to give him the MVP. Even though his team wasn't the greatest team, I get it. But it's a memory, right? We can all say to yourself, when you think about sports, you'll think about when this team did this, where were you at? When this player did this, where were you at? Did you watch it? Like, I watched Freddie Freeman as a Dodger fan hit those home runs live. Not in person, but I watched it live. I know the enjoyment that it gave me. So even though I'm not a Saquon Barkley fan or a Philadelphia Eagle fan, if he broke that record, I could say to myself, I watched somebody break a record that stood for years. We got to do better. We got to let the history show us what the history is. And until somebody starts getting hurt, going after records, or, they didn't go after the record and they sat and then they got hurt in the following game, then we could start saying, hey, this is sports. You play for the fans at the end of the day. This your boy, Jay Shad, Rashad. This is the Behind the Bench Network. I'm out.